Assassin's Creed. It took me forever to see this film. I decided I was going to see it today. It was actually my last chance. I just got back from the theater. It's midnight now. It's like, yeah, it's 12:07 in the morning. I went to the Dollar Theater. I paid $1.50 to see this movie at 9:50 at night. And today was the last day it was going to be at that Dollar Theater. I finally got to see it. I'm wearing my Assassin's Creed shirt. I was like, I'm going to actually see this movie today. And I liked it. Actually, thought it was pretty good. That's a little bit more. As far as a video game movie goes, it's definitely, there aren't that many great ones or even good ones. It's definitely one of the best ones there is. I'd say, personally, out of the ones that I've seen, I think this might actually be the best one. Yeah, I think it's better than the old Mortal Kombat movies. It's definitely better than most of the Resident Evil movies. I really only like the first Resident Evil movie, so, you know, I think I like this one a little bit more, but I haven't seen that in forever, and I don't know, it's like a pseudo-horror movie. I don't even remember that much. But it's definitely good. I never saw Warcraft. I lost interest. I was going to see it just because it was a video game movie, and I was like, I'm just so uninterested, I didn't even bother. But I like this one. I thought it was a simple movie. It's nothing like mind-blowing as far as movies go. Even outside of just being a video game movie, I think it's a nice, simple action movie. There's nothing super crazy about it. But this is a movie where I'm like, yeah, this wasn't a waste of money. It wasn't a waste of time. It's not like, and I'm glad I saw this after I saw the Resident Evil movie, and some of you may have seen that review, but I was so disappointed in that film because some of the films in that franchise, that was the sixth one, the last movie, all of them were better than the last film, and that was just insane, and it was really sad. I was like, man, this is the longest video game, film franchise we got, which I ain't saying that much, but still. And it went out on such a horrible note. I was like, well, I'm excited to see Assassin's Creed now because, back when it was actually first coming out, it got average reviews, which for a video game movie is huge praise because they all kind of come out very bad. So this, I thought, was a pretty good movie. I think, as far as what they did, balancing the past and the present, same complaint as pretty much everybody else. I feel like they should have done more in the past, and I think that would have been cooler. It would have made the movie more entertaining, and the parts where, they weren't in the past, outside of towards the end of the film, it was all talking. So it was like, if we weren't in the past, it was like, alright, we know it's just going to be a bunch of talking. There's like a tiny bit of cool stuff in there. And I like what they did as far as using elements from the game. They introduce a lot of the different stuff. I guess with this movie being so old, and plus it being a video game movie, it's almost spoilers, but not really. So I'll just save that for my spoiler thing. But they have elements that they introduced in like the second and third, and I believe like even fourth and fifth games, or well, I guess it would be six because they did so many before they finally got to was it Unity? Yeah, and so they introduced some stuff with the weapons where it's like, oh, they're shooting items and the actual just normal blades. So it was really cool how we got to see a bit of a span of the weapons and stuff like that. Of course, it's not just a retread of the first film, it's actually like a different character, but it's supposed to be within the same universe, but it's totally different than the games because the Animus is a completely different machine, because it's like they use the Animus in this, big room, and all this is in the trailer. But I like that. I thought it looked cool. It definitely looks way cooler than somebody just laying down in the bed. But I think a big part of that is, okay, well, if we do this, we can have basically, the cool flashback scenes, but then we can leave what was probably a very expensive old timey set that they built, and it's like, all right, well, let's just go to like the empty room and just show him moving around and stuff and put some CG in there. And I think that's a part of why they did that, because it helps with expenses, and it still looks cool. Some of the visuals when I forgot the main character's name. It's like they call him Cal. It's like Callum something else, but they have the parts where he's in the Animus, but they show what it looks like, and it's like a projector, and you see like, it's almost like after images. It's like everything's moving at super speed, but that's just the way it looks. And I thought that was cool. I was like, I like that. And it was a simple way for, like I said, for them to transition from, the huge set with all these extras and stuff like that to just this really empty room where it's like a couple of people, and it's not nearly as expensive to keep, filming for, all these big scenes. Although most of it were like really small cuts. Some of it, definitely, I understand why they did it, because some of the stuff was like climbing, and I was like, that makes perfect sense. Easy way to cut that out. You don't have to build something 20 feet high when you only show them go 5 feet high, and then everything else is CG based. So I thought that was interesting, and it's a simple way to do it where he has to be climbing on something logistically. So there has to be something there, but they could just build it and film it instead of actually build something for people to climb on and then just expand it in CG and stuff like that. And I feel like that's kind of what they did in some of the parts of the movie, which isn't bad or anything like that. I just feel like that's kind of how they utilize this new version of the Animus, where it's like, okay, well, it's moving him around the room and stuff where he's supposed to be climbing and this and that, and we can just film some stuff and then actually film him climbing and just CG some blocks and stuff, and then it looks like he's climbing, and it's really easy. So I think it looked good. The action was definitely great, especially the stuff that they did when he was in the Animus. Some of those scenes looked really, really good. We got to see some really cool stuff with a lot of different types of weapons. So I certainly loved that. We got to see groups of assassins, which I thought was really cool, because that's something, you know, especially with it being the first film, being a huge fan of the franchise, groups of assassins isn't something that came in until like the third game, I think. So there's just a lot to it. I was like, that looks really cool, and I feel like they kind of took some of that from Unity, where everyone's, you know, has different weapons and stuff like that, and different outfits. I was like, that makes me think of Unity, where you can have 4-player co-op, and different people look different and go in different directions and stuff. So that was very cool. The action in general I thought was good. The story, very simple. It is the same as the game. They are looking for a specific thing, which I won't spoil just because it's not the spoiler thing, even though it's based off of like a game franchise of like 10 games in it or something. But still, I won't spoil it. But they're looking for, you know, a specific thing, which is why they use the main character. And I like the way it played out. It was pretty cool. Interesting opening. That was the interesting thing about his character. They kind of touched very, very briefly. They touched on something that's in Assassin's Creed Rogue, which I really love that game for. It's one of the more unique games out of the whole franchise. And that's kind of touching on how people are within the Creed, and it doesn't necessarily mean they live the perfect life to just be like, yeah, I want to do this and be a part of the Assassin's Creed. So I like that idea where they kind of challenge it a little with some of the characters, where it's like, well, I'm on this side of the fence, but I wasn't raised to do this. I was just living a normal life, and then things went crazy or something like that. I'm just living, you know, for me right now. So I actually like that aspect. They, like I said, they only kind of touch on it a little, but I was like, it's cool that they at least introduce that, where it's like, it's not just, you do this because you're this, and then it goes from there. It's like, no, there's, you know, these two big factions, and some people are involved in this who were just like, I don't want to be, and that's pretty much it. Or they weren't for a huge chunk of their life, and then suddenly they're just thrown right into it. So I like that they touched on that a little bit. And ultimately, like I said, I don't think it was like a mind-blowing film or anything like that, but it was definitely good. It was, I mean, I only paid to see it at the dollar theater, so it's certainly worth the $150 that I paid. But I think, you know, I would have been fine if I paid full price for this. I would have totally been fine having seen this movie. I definitely think it was good. Like, if I could have switched and I saw this at full price and I paid $150 for the Resident Evil movie, that would have been way better, because that would have, it just would have been so much more appropriate. But I enjoyed this. I had a good time with it. They seem to do like a bit of a cliffhanger ending, sort of. So I don't, we'll see what happens with that. But, you know, it was a good movie. I'd highly recommend it for people who actually like the franchise. There's stuff that you'll recognize if you played the games. For people who haven't seen it, it is just a simply a good action movie. So I think anyone can enjoy this film, unless you're looking for something like mind-blowing. I think you can enjoy this, especially considering now it's out of theaters. The next time people get to see this is like, you have to rent it anyway. It'll be way cheaper, and you just watch it at home. It's definitely worth it for that. But I had a good time with this. I was like, all right, I'm going into this. It's a video game movie. I was already like, I know it's not going to be that bad, because they got, you know, mediocre reviews. So I was like, I'm probably going to be fine with it. And that's exactly how I went in, and that's exactly how I came out of it. I thought, you know, the best part was the action. If you're going specifically for the action, it's probably not as much as you would want, but it's kind of like a normal action movie, where it's like they won't do 100% action. They didn't, you know, because it's based off of this huge franchise, which is like just, it feels like eons worth of story at this point. But when it's based off of a franchise, and I'm like, I know it's not going to be just action, 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 because even the games aren't that way. I knew what to expect from this film, so I think they did a good balance of it. It's, like I said, it's nothing like insanely epic, but certainly a fun movie. Definitely worth seeing as far as I'm concerned. If you like the franchise, I think you'll really enjoy the movie. They don't, it's I like the fact that they didn't just say like, hey, let's just redo the first movie and try to see how we can change that into live action, because that would not have worked for them. They would have had to have spent 90% of that movie in the past, because in the games, that's what it's like. You spend most of your time in the past. So, like I said, that's really the one big complaint about it, is that most of the movie is definitely in the present, and most of the time in the present until it gets to like the last, I'd say like the last 15 minutes is like just really intense action. And that I thought was really cool, and it's like crazy and chaotic and stuff, and you see all sorts of craziness in the ending moments of the film. But for the most part, all the action is set to the past, and they have some good. They definitely have like one. I think the last time they're in the past is like a really big chunk of it, and that's probably one of the best parts of the film, because like they're in the past for a really long time, and I think that works out really well because you just see them for a long time in the past. It's just straight up assassins versus Templars. They're doing their mission, and it's really cool because that's what you want to see from Assassin's Creed. Even when you play the game, you want to play the assassins. You do not care about the modern day stuff. Even the company doesn't really care that much, because now it's you just play a first person character thing. So they don't even care that much about it anymore. So they know. But definitely a good movie. Love seeing that Ubisoft logo on the big screen. Admittedly, that kind of made me nerd out a little, because we don't see that too often. We have our video game franchises, but this was actually worked on by Ubisoft. Like, you don't see Capcom when the Resident Evil movies come up. You see Sony, and that's it. So it was really cool to see the Ubisoft logo show up. It's like they did work on this film, and you can definitely tell. Like, there's stuff in here where it's like, yep, you can tell they did the best they could with the pacing, and they did a good job. Like I said, not perfect film, definitely entertaining. Of course, I would love to know what you guys thought about this movie if you saw it, which odds are you've probably seen it by now, and if not, you didn't care to see it. So would love to know what you guys thought about this movie. Spoiler free, of course, so please put your comments down in the comment section below. One of your favorite parts, your least favorite parts, vaguely. If you want to save that, save all the spoiler stuff, you can save it for my spoiler discussion. I totally forgot to mention that in the beginning, because I was just talking about how I finally got to see this movie. But I will be doing a spoiler video right after this, and it should be uploaded. If it's not, if there isn't a link in the description right now, then just give it like another 30 minutes and there will be a link in the description. But that's for like the one person who might possibly see this at 12:30 in the morning. It might not even upload until like, it probably won't even actually upload until almost 1 in the morning. So for everyone else, that doesn't matter. But for that one person, just wait like 30 minutes and it'll be there. But I'd love to know what you guys thought about it. So please comment below, let me know, and thanks for watching.